Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is May 26th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing great on this holiday Monday. It's just my heart was warmed. I predicted the winner, and really, I wish I had put some money where my mouth was, and it could have been celebrating a nice little boost to my bank account too.
What are we referring to? Are we referring to Angel?
Angel going
El
back
Pato?
to back. The heartwarming tale of Angel Cabrera.
Has anybody won two majors in the same week? That was a big thing being bandied about. The same precise week, two majors in a 7-day stretch.
I would allege that nobody's done it still. A no-cut event, at the Regions isn't really a major championship. So let's go with that
true.
as the answer.
That's true. I was subject to controversy. PJ could provide more color. A great weekend with PJ down in DC. Was getting text yesterday that certain congressional members, there was a lot of angst about El Pato, fresh out of jail, perhaps being the champion. Some women members or wives of members were like, I don't know if I can get in that picture. I don't know, on the green. A lot of PJ had color from the ground that there was apparently cheering from the member tent when El Pato missed his short putt.
Big member
this
tent
seemed to be a pervasive thing. So I don't know where you're supposed to land. Trouble here early, but I don't know where you're supposed to land on it. But this was a subplot, as PJ said. Was it prevalent on the grounds, PJ?
Yeah, I would say there was a big there's a big congressional member viewing tent off of the side of the 17th green where there were TVs playing the broadcast, and Pato could have put it away on 16. It was a par 5. He made par. He missed a short birdie putt, and there was some outward cheers from them emanating from the member tent for sure. There was definitely an interesting dynamic out there, I'd say.
I mean, a literal law and order,
literally,
not fair police, but police situation with El Pato. I mean, I'm not going to be an El Pato apologist. Like, you should take that stance, right? Like, it can never be a fan. I'm not sure what he's like. He went to jail. Could he have gone to jail longer? Should he have gone? Sure, have that, but he's not there anymore. He served his time. I don't know. Are they supposed to not let him play? I guess you could, but that. There's two things. Like, he went to jail, said he was a very bad person, and totally sees that now, hopefully. And then also you can be these people who are like, no, get out of here. I don't want that. That's a stain. If we like, but I'm not sure you can prevent him from playing. Like, that position is perfectly fine to hold, but I don't know. He's got to let him play, right? Maybe.
Do you know what this reminds me of? And I'm not saying that this is like a like perfect comparison, but the discourse is similar to reinstated AMs in the mid-am world.
Slightly less,
way less
matter,
less serious matter.
Yeah,
but it's like this idea of like, if somebody laced it up in one. Some people have this stance of like, if somebody tried to play professional golf and laced it up in one pro event, like they played a year on the Canadian tour and made $4,000, that they should be banished from amateur golf for the rest of their lives. And it's like, oh, but where should they play?
Right.
In El Pato's case, I am again not trying to be an El Pato apologist here. But like, okay, so he gets out of the clink. What is he supposed to do? He's going back to the workforce. It just happens. His workforce just happens to be very high profile and on television. And I do have like the sneaking suspicion that maybe like one of the best things that you could do for your golf game is go to jail. Because you get out of jail.
Are you now advocating for committing crimes?
No, I just think when you get out of jail, you might be like, well, you know what? It's not that big of a deal that I made a double bogey. Like, it might give you a bigger picture perspective on playing golf.
This is a take.
This is good.
This is a take.
So is this the next frontier for like Max Homa? Go commit some light theft, victimless crime, hopefully, and then get a couple months off in jail.
I'd like to point out Scotty went to jail.
That is true. That is true. Came out great until the chaplain got on the bag the second round out. This first round out was great.
The chaplain might have tainted his perspective he gained from being in the clink.
That's true. Look, he literally is not in jail anymore. He's hopefully not still committing crimes. Like, I don't know what you want him to do. Now, you could also take the perpetual view that he's a scumbag and you don't like him and you don't want to be a part of it. Totally also fair and reasonable.
I think two things could be true.
Yeah.
Another question I had, PJ, do you think he picked up the jailbird putter while he was in jail?
I don't know, but I think that might have been my favorite part of the whole weekend.
You got a little tip. You were on it. Jailbird putter.
Yep. I started following him shortly after he got the tip just to confirm that it's in the bag. Sure enough, Callaway AI jailbird, Odyssey AI jailbird, whatever. That's it.
So good.
It's in the bag.
So good. Oh, he won. Was that a good day? Was that a good event, PJ? I guess we're going to Senior Champs Tour minute right out the gate here. Colonial will be damned.
When did you make the call to go down? I was a little out of touch this week. And
at the Met game in Boston on Wednesday night, there was discussion about, am I flying from Boston to DC? Should I go home and then drive? There was a lot going on, but it pretty much kind of came into focus Wednesday night.
A lot of text.
And you see, drove down.
Got home from Boston, recorded with Joseph and Brendan on Thursday.
Yeah.
Got home, threw more clothes in a bag, and left like 6 a.m. on Friday morning.
I was close to getting on the horn with Dratty and telling him to overnight a package of gear for PJ because he might have been flying from Boston. He's like, I got no clothes, got nothing, but he ended up going to Long Island. He did the whole East Coast. So, but he was a hit out there. A lot of fans were looking for PJ as much as anyone. Was it fun? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. It was cool to see Congressional. I had a great time. It was cool to see like a, famous golf course that I've seen on TV before. And I think, there was an 8-way tie for the lead late on Saturday. You look at the leaderboard, I think it was pretty good, all things considered. A lot of Pato talked about this on Saturday after his round, just commenting that there were a lot of major champions, a lot of major experience at the top of the leaderboard. And, it seemed like Padraig was going to run away with it halfway through Sunday. He was lights out. He was like 6 or 7 under through 12 and then kind of just fell apart late. He said himself that he got too cocky, got out in front of his skis a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. In his press conference last night, said that he got overconfident and it's a lifelong issue for him that he gets cocky. He had a bad tee shot on 15 and that kind of undid him. He missed a 3-footer that would have eventually sent it to a playoff because I wouldn't say Pato closed brilliantly, but got it over the finish line for a second straight week.
This is a second major championship at Congressional where we've seen someone not close brilliantly.
Oh, Lexi. Yeah. I mean, it's a hard closing stretch, but still.
Maybe that might be a quality of the Andrew Green redesign, is that it forces people to close not well, which is absolute theater for TV.
I assume Ryder Cup, and which is 25 years away. They're going to have it rerouted.
Don't worry. There's plenty of Ryder Cup 2037 stuff in the merch store.
I know, it's kind of insane. Yeah, it was good. I was over there for only a portion of the time that PJ was here. I thought it was good. It was super windy, crazy wind. The old codgers started. I guess there were some complaints about slope. Not I guess. There were some complaints about slope on the greens. These old codgers are used to your regions, traditions, and your TPC sugar loaves. And I don't think they were ready for a lot of slope. So they talked about how extreme it was. And yeah, it got windy, crazy windy Friday, Saturday into Sunday. And it finally firmed up from the early week rain. So it was kind of fun. It was good. There was. I mean, let's not do smoke and mirrors here. There was not a lot of people there. There was not a lot of people. There was not a solitary grandstand. I went with my kids. It was freaking glorious, though. It was amazing. I was trying to, create solutions for problems maybe we don't have, like thinking about how to make the Champs Tour legitimate while I was out there. Like, this is glorious. Like, kids were just entertained sitting on this hill. It was like 65 and sunny. I don't know what you do. Could you make like 6 to 8 events that are just core badass places? I don't know. Could you make it a small, condense it, scarcity, go to places like Congressional if they'll have you every 7 years, 10 years, whatever it is, and make it like a 6 event, 8 event circuit where like you literally can go up and touch these guys like the whole way around. PJ and I had inside the ropes. So he's like, I haven't used that. Like, there's no real, like, there's no viewing issues.
I used it at the end of yesterday because Patrick started drawing a crowd, and I was like, all right, it's just easier to walk around. But I used it for probably all of 3 holes across 54 on the 3 days I was there.
I mean, it is a pretty good, decent experience. Like, you're up close. You go to a great course like that for a Champions Tour event. I don't know if you can condense it. Is it oversaturated? I'm trying to think of like what could make this work. I mean, my kids went. They have no idea who any of these guys are, and we see out the ball on the range. I go, that guy won 2 freaking Masters, and like that orients them a little bit. Like, oh, that's like a big. They just watched that with Rory and all that. Like, this is a real deal guy. And then we see VJ, he won a Masters. So that like you can literally go up and touch him. By the way, one of the most jarring things I've seen in person at a golf tournament by far, like just almost could have knocked me over the feather. So watch VJ tee off on Saturday. And he moseys outside the ropes amongst all the people and hops in his cart. And like seeing that up close in person is jarring. Like, these women, these old biddies in these straw hats want to come up and talk to him. Like, oh, Mr. Singh, like, go play well. He's got to move people out of the way to like putter down the path. It's insane. I hadn't seen that up close, but I totally forgot this was a thing. And he's just people crowding around him. He can't get through. It was incredible. Seeing the carts up close, like, this isn't real. This can't be real.
I did notice yesterday that Darren Clark did not bring his Abaco Club, speaker and steering wheel cover. His cart was not tricked out. I saw him for the first time yesterday. Cart not tricked out. Big letter Abaco
just a little bit.
I didn't know I was getting into a senior tour, like how to fix the senior tour.
I didn't either when I walked out there. I was trying to legitimize.
This was not something I was prepared for.
Happy Memorial Day, or
I think if you look down the list, if you went down your road of fixing the senior tour, you'd have to get rid of a lot of names. On the board, like Cameron Percy wouldn't be playing if you only had 8 events.
Yeah, well, that's what you should do.
Jason Karen wouldn't be involved. Big shot, Bob Carlson.
Jason Karen shows up and just puts numbers on the board repeatedly.
Yeah, PJ. But if it was 8 events, it wouldn't be about merit. That's where the Dickie Blands of the world would get really upset because they wouldn't be allowed in. But it would be better.
Just go to like some old school courses that will have you every now and then. I was just trying to think of how it could work. I don't know. Maybe
our pitch to you course. Will you just have us every once in a while?
You get up close and personal with Masters.
We might bring Tiger.
Dude, they had like 40 plus Corbridge members in this. Dude, it's just not needed. You don't need
Karen was carrying the Corbridge flag.
Why was it 156 guys, PJ? I mean, it had to be close. I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know.
What else did you got from C? You were legitimately.
I got a question, PJ. What happened to the guy that should have won the 2016 Masters?
Honestly, he was. I followed. He played with Blandy on Sunday. I followed them for their entire round. He had repeatedly made comments. This is Story Kelton, by the way, just for everybody who might
Yeltsin, as Stancy kept calling him Yeltsin on the broadcast. Like, do I have it wrong, or I assume he has it right because he's the professional on television? But Yeltsin, he made multiple comments because it was his first senior event. He turned 50 last Sunday, so he's a week into being eligible for this. He made multiple comments about it was like a middle school reunion. Where like he's seen all his old friends that maybe he hadn't seen in like 4 or 5 years.
that like they're just all coming back together. And he appreciated that he was being called the big dog because he was longer than a lot of guys. Whereas when he plays the Euro Tour, he's getting like rocked by these 20-year-olds. So he had 2 eagles on Sunday. He was golfing his ball, but just he kind of ran out of holes. Padraig got incredibly hot there for a little while, and Soren and Dickie B were out well in front of them, maybe like 4 or 5 groups in front of the last 2 of the guys that ended up being in it right to the end. And he kind of ran out of holes. I would say he had a couple bogeys on the back 9 that weren't great, but maybe just started too far back. But he played well. I think the early returns for Soren's senior tour career is this guy's going to be a demon for a little while.
Are you so you're happy with this debut?
Yeah.
What would you give him? What would you give him as a grade?
I mean, A- B+. Like how could you not? I think you're looking like senior British. I mean, feels like a great spot. Feels like a great spot.
Okay.
Do they announce him as a should have won the 2016 Masters?
You know, they didn't mention that, but I knew you would. So that's a real ball knower take.
Everybody go back and watch that. Everybody talks about that's the one that slipped through Jordan Spieth's fingers. It was Soren Kelton. Slipped through. God, nobody hit it better than him on Sunday.
Any other delights and amusements? I loved your newsletter recap about Padraig expecting his car before the return.
That was
his
great.
Rental car. What you were like? You were in deep. You were in the middle. I can't believe how many honest, like to God, not a bit text message I got from you. Like, I'm having the time of my life. This is wonderful. You were just really like a pig in shit out there.
I mean, how could I not be? It was great. There was nobody out there. I was watching. I was up close and personal. Thank guys for golfing their ball. I got a huge kick out of just my entire weekend with Dick Bland. It was really incredible.
Did you talk to him at all?
I didn't. I should have on Saturday, and then he didn't do like quick quotes after his round on Saturday or Sunday. But I had an opportunity on Saturday on the putting green, but it was like maybe 15 minutes before his tee time. I didn't want to get in the way. Maybe that's an Oakmont. Maybe that's an Oakmont. I'll find him at Oakmont and just make contact there.
Can I pose a question for you?
Sure.
What do you think Angel needs to do to get more in the 2026 P Cup discussion?
Well, he's in Aronimink now. I mean, that's like a big
interesting.
It's a big
points.
Could he make a cut there? Get some points. Obviously he's going to play the Masters. That's who knows? He could be in the US Open if he wins the senior US Open too. Like that
team routinely fields, they could field some teams that players aren't qualified for all 4 majors. If he's qualified for all 4 majors, then
I was going to say, what's another year of Cam Davis on the bench when you got El Pato available? Like
you did say he was legitimately long, right?
I mean, comparatively,
yes.
He was hitting driver. I mean, I wrote this in the newsletter. I don't think in the 54 holes I saw, I don't think Dickie B hit less than driver on any par 4 or par 5. He's just
playing the modern game, right?
Him and Padraig. Padraig hit like a couple 5 woods maybe, but Richard Bland was just going out there and like this is a guy that is trying to keep up his best with Bryson on a maybe not weekly basis, but 14 event a year basis, and was bringing that to the Champs Tour where Justin Leonard, his playing partner on Saturday, is hitting like hybrids off the tee. Blandy is 100 yards past him on a par 5, like literally not even close, to the point where it was honestly kind of amazing. Blandy maybe got into some trouble yesterday. Couldn't really keep it on the planet on Sunday with the driver, but the optimal strategy was definitely in play for Padraig and Blandy.
Hey, why isn't Langer in the field?
Last 2 weeks didn't play either.
We couldn't figure that out. I think maybe just tried to give it his all to make that cut at the Masters, and his,
my race is run, and he's proven himself on the Champs Tour. Some texts I got from you. You saw an NBC cart go full speed into the rope. You seemed excited about that. Driving full speed.
17. Final group approaching the 17th green. They're getting into position for Pato.
You're having fun out there.
Full speed into this rope, knocked the guy's hat off, hit him right between the eyes, full Bryson situation. It was great.
Big Woody Austin tomahawk down the 18th fairway, a 72nd hole. You love that.
Rock spike.
What? You said you had some substantiated rumors about Big Don, who you were very despondent about. They disappear him?
Just gone. Was not at the trophy presentation.
Sunday voiceover.
Got a Sunday voiceover. Less enthusiastic, though. There was not a lot of juice in that Sunday voiceover. It was much more, sedated, I would say. But no Don for the trophy presentation. I was there. I was ready to go. That was the main event to me, and we didn't get it.
You got to fill in Don. Yeah, he apparently played with Monty in the Pro-Am, which just had to be incredible.
He played with Monty in the Pro-Am, and like the CEO of Congressional. Apparently was talking about his umpiring career. He did a couple spring training games, but never made it to the bigs, got as high as AAA, and was openly discussing the rollback and the relationship between the 5 families of golf, openly discussing this during the Pro-Am to anybody who would listen.
What was he saying?
Just, disappointed in maybe some USGA takes and wanted the USGA's pro rollback stance and was not happy about maybe some Mike Wanda interviews that he's been giving pro rollback.
Personal opinion on it. There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA of America.
Sounds like an opinion. Are the 5 families going to the mattresses? Are we going to have Big Don? Literally the Don Corleone Rea? Is he taking one of the families to war with Mike Wan? Oh, that'd be good. That's good. All right, that's great. PGA Champions. Any other Champions Tour minutes? We want to get off here. It was competitive. With Colonial was a little slow. Legitimately, given the course.
I got multiple tweets from people being like, "This is legitimately better than the Schwab," and I was like, "I don't know. I'm not watching it, but I'm having fun."
Well, I'm glad you had fun. You were out there.
I was getting a lot of text messages about your Don Reyes segment on Friday's episode.
Yeah,
lots of maybe members of his organization, firing off some takes to me. Not really happy about where, maybe about how he's presenting as the president of the PGA.
I saw several members of his organization both out and about this weekend, maybe at a golf course. And I was told, a lot of reaction to the segments Quail Weekend last Friday. It's out there. I was told a survey went out to the organization, and they were like, "Oh, this is a good timing." Survey to the members about, how happy are you with the leadership and the representation of the PGA following Quail Hollow. They're like, "Oh, I don't know if the timing was ideal on that one, but they got to keep them. They got to let them cook. Got to let them come back for the Ryder Cup."
Hey, I will tie a bow here. I'm getting word about the Principal Charity Classic field. Is epic. They're mourning the fact that PJ spent his allowance, his travel allowance on the senior PGA and not going out to Des Moines. They're disappointed. But Russ Cochran just got in off the alternate list.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Who's first alternate on that
Who is
some guys we got some alternates that are just fresh off PGA Tour stints. You got Duffy Waldorf.
Tell me it's
the first alternate. The second alternate.
Duffy missed the cut on the number. I was so disappointed. He finished before I got there on Friday.
God,
I was looking forward to a weekend.
All these details committed to memory. Talking about Duffy Waldorf's finish on Friday.
He's a recurring character on this podcast.
Okay. Second alternate, Olin Brown, fresh off the PGA Tour. Frosty is in the field. And J. Don Blake is about 8 spots down in the alternate list. I figure we aren't going to commit a full in-out alternate to this.
No.
Also, a PR staple, Michael Bradley is about 10.
Oh my God.
On the alternate list. Carlos Franco is also an alternate.
We did get one last substantiated rumor that Jarmo Sandelin was seen about in a golf retail store buying tees last weekend. Jarmo Sandelin, friend of mine in Rockville, local retailer, buying tees. Now, look, golf has gone a lot of ways monetizing everything. The head covers, tees, I feel like have like rolled the other way. Like I can't remember the last time I like paid for tees. And they presumably have many tees at Congressional for your use. For
they have them on the first tee in the little box.
Yes. It's like the one thing in golf that's kind of not been monetized or inflated to high heavens. It's like tees. It's actually gone the opposite way, it feels like. And there was Jarmo apparently going to the local golf retailer buying tees, specific kind he wanted, like Pro Force Blue, something else. But yeah, he was out buying tees in and about suburban Maryland. If you went to said golf retailer, go ahead.
One thing, we're only 2 years away from. Do you know what that is, PJ?
So who's 48?
New Corbridge member?
Oh, I don't know. This could be anybody. Blocky's 48. I would have thought he was younger, honestly.
He turns 49 on June 15th.
I would have thought he was younger. I mean, that's going to be, he's going to be all over. He could be the next Jason Karen.
I
don't know if the crowds are big enough.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think the crowds are big enough.
I will say that there was Jason Karen routinely had the biggest gallery of the week. There was a large contingent from the Mill River Club from Long Island. He had his family out there. He clearly had Long Island people who were wearing my high school's logo out on Friday, like all over the place. Jason Karen brought a traveling contingent down I-95 for sure. So Blocky could bring the good. Blocky could bring everybody.
He could transform the whole tour.
Who needs Tiger next year when you got just Blocky 18 months around the corner?
I mean, not even 18 months. Is it 13 months around the corner?
I mean, he's totally going to do this. He's going to do like the Rob Labritz, the Karen thing. Like right? He's got to.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen. So, all right. If you were going to a golf retailer, not for tees, but for the finest apparel in golf, you would ask for B. Dratty. SGS30 promo code is probably not going to work at the retailer, but it will work at bdratty.com. I've got my OG Dratty Liam pocket polo. I mean, this thing's like 6 years old, holding up just delightfully well. It's kind of got a great broken in look to it. Andy, what do you got? A sports shirt on? I can't tell. You got a Dratty sports shirt?
I've got the cool fabric.
Okay. The cool fabric.
It's got golfers on it. It's got
all right. Oh, I see. They're getting the print game a little bit more this year.
Trying to see what else there is.
They're messing around with that a little bit.
I gotta look further into the prints and see what all the things that the people are doing on the shirt.
The activities. Yeah. Hopefully nothing untoward. I'm sure it's all classy and dignified as Dratty is. That's their motto, or our motto for them in this read. Go to bdratty.com. Use the promo code SGS30. That gets you a full 30% off. It was a windy, chilly one. You had your cool hoodie on, PJ. Yep. You were rocking in that. I had an Andy hoodie going. I wore my shacket to a concert on Saturday. It was so it was layering season still over here. But as it gets warmer, you invest in those cool fabrics. They've really like upped the game on those. I wore those all around Disney. They're money. This new cool fabric. They had a winner on the KFT, Pontus Nyholm, so another ambassador.
You know what? I was somewhere very hot last week.
Yeah.
And they suggested wearing long sleeves because of the sun, other things. And I wore the Willie T over a sport polo.
Okay.
It was great.
Willie hoodie?
The Willie hoodie. The Willie hoodie.
That thing's sweet.
It was like, honestly, like if you want to do like protect yourself from sun but wear long sleeves, but be like that is like about as good of a shirt as you can wear. The Willie hoodie.
That's a good one.
I might be doing it more often. I might turn into Joseph, who wore long sleeves and long pants every day of the U.S. Open at Pinehurst.
That's insane.
It was like 100 degrees. He was in an Andy hoodie.
We need to get him a pack of Willie hoodies for Oakmont then. But that's because I assume it's not going to be cool at Oakmont, but he wants sun protection. We'll get him a pack for the Joseph scripting. That's good. But yeah, my kids got in the car. They're like,
the boys.
My Mr. PJ looked cold, is what my one kid said. I'm like, yeah, it was.
Were they
whipping.
calling him Mr. PJ?
That's how
Brendan introduced me. And I said, "What?" I literally like guffawed at the first time.
Was that the first time you've been called Mr. PJ?
I think so, probably.
They were trying to guess what PJ stood for on the ride home. And I was like, one of them guessed. I was like, it's probably Peter or Patrick, Junior or James or something. He's like, you know what I think it is? I think it's Peter Jamal Clark. I was like, I mean, that's a good guess, buddy. I don't know. Don't think so, but could be it. What is it?
Oh, it's Peter
Patrick?
James. No, it's
Peter
James.
James.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I figured. I'll have to relay that. Mr. PJ. Look, but he had his cool hoodie as his layering out there. And you can too at bdratty.com. Use the promo code SGS30.
Hey, what are the boys? The boys are going to be on site at Oakmont. I got to ask, what are the boys cooking on right now?
The boys are we've thrown some ideas back and forth. I think we're going to try to use Monday to touch base with maybe our favorite football podcaster and follow up on maybe some Carolina Panthers. How did Ted McMillan look in mini camp? Maybe go from there. I got to make contact with Blandy here at some point. There are options.
It's you guys are gonna be rumbling around by yourself unsupervised on Monday.
Daunting ask, but I think we're ready for it.
Are you gonna do a rough video?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
There's a lot of rough content.
I was gonna say, I feel like the rough market has maybe been captured. Maybe we try to do something else other than the rough market, not play to the
or you jump in and do rough content your own way. That's what everybody's saying. Do rough content, but in a unique way.
Yeah. Well, we've thrown some ideas around for that, so we'll see. I'm excited.
All right. Love it. We're going to be at Oakmont. We'll be at Local Remedy as well. We're talking on Local Remedy Brewing.
Wearing Dratty stuff.
We'll be in Dratty stuff. We'll have some giveaways.
We'll have Dratty stuff there too.
We'll have Dratty merch. I'm sure you can purchase. We'll be doing some podcasts. We'll be hanging. So Local Remedy, it's a brewery that's like within a mile from Oakmont.
Peach, where are we at with getting the audio dialed in for that? How are we feeling? Are we feeling any better 1 week later?
Ask me on Wednesday of that week, I guess. I don't know how I feel. I'm gonna keep saying cautiously optimistic because that way maybe at some point I'll believe it. So we're fingers crossed. We're hoping. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Well, the origin of this podcast is humps and bumps and hiccups along the way, and yeah, if there's audio quality issues, it'll just be in line with the traditions.
Hey, when's Caves Media Day?
Like end of June.
Question.
We got to reenact it. Should we do a podcast from the road on the way back from Caves Valley?
We could do that. It'll be the whatever. I don't know what it is. Travelers or something after Travelers. One of those towards the end of June. Yeah, we could do that. Joey Crawford running in. Should we have a reprint, a rerun of those shirts? Or
those shirts sold so poorly.
The world just wasn't ready for it, though.
It's up there with the Scott Pelly run. Like, there's a few items that could be inducted into like the worst merch Hall of Fame, and I think the Traveler's shirt was one of them.
That was good. We eventually sold them.
Well, we sold them. I think we discounted the Pelly down to like $5 just to get them out.
and then sent some away. I think, right? Gave some away.
I think we sent some other pieces of clothes, some excess inventory of a bad run to faraway land.
All right, we'll get on our Oakmont plan and audio quality. We'll see. I know PJ has a lot of anxiety. A little bit of anxiety at the end of the Colonial finish. It looked like a blowout. It was a 5-shot lead early on the front nine. Ben Griffin is your winner of the Charles Schwab. What do they call it? Charles
Challenge.
Schwab Challenge. I was going to say invitational. It is an invitational, but the title is a challenge. He gets his first solo win.
Did you silence the haters? I read this. I'm like, who were the haters? Who's the Ben Griffin haters?
It's kind of insane.
Are they TikTokers? Was he just living in his mentions on TikTok?
I don't know. I don't know, but he did say
this is big for his TikTok following.
He saw some people on Saturday night saying they didn't think he could get it done. He was tied with Matty Schmid, goes eagle birdie out of the gate, gets up 5. Then kind of salts it away. Schmid chips in at 18.
Schmid was
he protecting the points on 17, playing
on 17? Away? That was I don't know what he was doing. Rightfully, Trevor called him out. Like, wait, what is going on? He played 17 horribly 2 days in a row.
Had a plugged lie and played away from the target. And yeah, Trevor was on him. You know, Joseph Lamagna was like suggesting, is he protecting the points? Then you have a Griffin on 18 has to do like a choke down to the hosel, awkward chip standing in a bunker, gets up and down for par. Schmid holes out, and now he's got to actually make the 5-footer. What was a 5-shot lead, and now you got to grind over a par putt on 18. Got a nice drop on 14 from Big Charles Schwab and 18th hole side after a big miss left. Which was, I don't know, subject of some controversy, but it was legitimate TIO. That's just the way it works. There's TIO everywhere. And he did eventually, like, he had to still work for a par there. But gets it in the house, makes his par on 18 to beat Schmid by a shot. A good story. Very I'll just talk about, it's interesting. Like these non-signature, non-major weeks are, there are opportunities for people like Scotty to kind of reaffirm how much worlds better he is than the tour or many of his contemporaries. There are opportunities for stories like this. Ben Griffin, a bona fide tour pro the last, 2 years, but had to work for it. Obviously, there's the big story about, or sort of the line about how he was quitting, going to be a mortgage broker and turn the wrong way towards a golf course. And was like, maybe I should get back into golf. An incredible story. Same, honestly, on the DP World Tour. Christopher Reitan, who was like thinking about quitting golf, she had 62, was 9 shots back to start the final round. Shoots 62 and wins in a playoff after a couple of years of thinking about quitting golf. Like, these things can happen. It just kind of reinforces the margins between becoming maybe a mortgage banker and shooting 62 or shooting whatever it was to win on the weekend at Griffin, who's now like a legitimate Ryder Cup option. And we say that on May 26th. I want to clarify, like, the net is always big, and it's kind of the thing we do with people like that haven't been there before, he's got a bunch of top 10s. I think he's 13th in the standings, and he's an American, so he's going to be thrown into the discussion. We'll see where we are. It may look back September 1st and be like, of course he's an option, or that was just sort of a silly moment in time where the net is cast wide. We'll see. Honestly, one of like the best press conference clips I've seen this year, and that doesn't mean the event was a howitzer or the best entertainment of the year, but when Griffin was asked about his short game, just an innocuous question, because he hit 4 of like 14 fairways, missed a bunch of greens. He's asked about like, the chipping and putting and how do you scramble to kind of keep that lead or keep him at arm's length and get it steered into the house. He talked about how they lost his home as a kid, and like the recession crushed his family in 2007-8. And they just didn't have a lot of money. And so he would go to like a public range and chip and putt a lot. He wouldn't spend a lot of money on buckets of balls. He'd spend like $5. He gets really emotional. He's, tearing up in the response. It's like an incredible sort of history, like the scar tissue, the work, the sweat equity, literal tears and sweat equity. An incredible answer to a question about just short game. Well, that took me back to like when we had not a lot and I would save money that focused on chipping and putting because it didn't cost as much. An incredible answer that you just don't, you get it from a week like Colonial sometimes. It was awesome.
I mean, I think so many kids or so many people that grew up, at a community, maybe not at a place that you got free range balls would agree with. As a kid, like if you didn't have cash, it's like you can't hit range balls. You just chip and putt. I thought the other interesting line from that along the same lines was like the idea of his parents working, and when he traveled to play junior tournaments, both his parents were working. He's 16 and he would lie to the check-in attendant at hotels. What would you say that? One of the front desk people at hotels, saying like, "Hey, my dad's just on his way. He's just running late. Can you just give me a key? I need to get in." And it's just and along the same lines, something that doesn't get discussed probably enough with men's professional golf is just the sheer cost, or women's professional golf for that matter, of trying to make a run for it. And here's a guy that now has 2 wins this year. One of them, maybe 1.5 since it was a team event, but he's a winner. He's on Ryder Cup contention. And a couple of years ago, it wasn't like I gave this a run for 10 years and I just can't make it work anymore. It was wow, I don't think I can do this financially. And I quit and became a mortgage, broker. Right.
Yeah.
That's like, it's just not the same as other sports. I think just in general, if you have means, you have such an advantage in the sport. And it's cool to see a guy that came from humble beginnings and it hasn't been an easy run from the finance standpoint and make it where he's now at the, a real chance at the Ryder Cup and a bona fide PGA Tour. Like he's been really good this year.
Legit. Yeah. Elite Tour Pro. Legit top Tour Pro. It was interesting. It's like, I had no status getting on the Korn Ferry Tour. It's a bunch of stepping stones. That kind of, so, the path to pro golf is varied and not linear for most. Sometimes, we'll talk about some of these juniors coming out or college players coming out, and maybe Luke Clanton is just that never even has to think about a Korn Ferry Tour. Seems like it could go that way. But yeah, stepping stones and obviously from junior golf to now. Great to see him. Wasn't like the most entertaining Sunday round. And you could tell those guys were kind of in it. Schmid had like 6 bogeys and a double. Griffin, outside of the eagle birdie start, had a bunch of bogeys. Coming in, I think he shot 2 over maybe. But he got there. They had done their work beforehand and were able to kind of afford that final round, much like Scotty with the lefts, the week before. You get your work done over 72 holes, and they kind of fought their way in.
How do you feel about Griffin for the Ryder Cup? What do you think? Think he's a fit?
I don't know. No, it seems like a reach right now. He's not short. But he's not a big hitter that you'd want at Bethpage. Not one of the bigger hitters. Been consistent.
Your guy Ryan Gerard had some interesting quotes.
What'd he say?
Golf Week. He just talked about how he's always had this incredible short game, and it's like the long game's catching up.
That's good. That's interesting.
I don't necessarily. If I was the American, I'm a fan of the European team.
Would his partner be able to play a max fly? Because he's tearing it up.
Maybe they should bring John Houston in or John Huston.
Legitimately, I think Griffin's like second on the tour in top 10s this year. Someone was telling me it's not an insane candidacy here on May 26th. He could end up, for so long, like 2 of those spots were Tiger and Phil. And we're just kind of getting out of this phase where regardless of form, Tiger and Phil, right? Those are gonna be 2 spots. And we're in the like third cycle or second or third cycle of like they're not really up for consideration. You're going to get some guys who have just a great year that you didn't expect, probably wedge their way in.
Here's just like some, we're getting closer. We're halfway through the majors. We're getting, we're on kind of the stretch run of the PGA Tour season in terms of big point events. I'm just going to read a few interesting positions for names. Okay. Pat Cantlay, 12. Tony Finau, 15. Keegan, 18. Wendy Clark, 19.
Wendy Clark. T-Mobile turned his smashing the sign into an activation. I got a press release for it. I wanted to stick my head in the oven. I mean, unbelievable. T-Mobile, something like Wyndham Clark stuff about his bad moment throwing his driver is now an activation. All right.
Akshay Bhatia, I feel like would be one that people would want to see. Just youth movement, new blood. He's 23rd. Yeah. Then we got Buddy Ball. We got the Buddy Ball segment. Sam Burns, Buddy Ball, buddy with Scheffler is 28th. Yeah. That's not good. I think we're kind of getting through the Bermuda stretch of the year too. Bermuda grass, which is the other issue. Maybe he's been hindered by the rye overseed.
The overseed.
Overseed fascination with tour setup champ management, maybe.
That's a good point.
Fellow Buddy Baller, Jordan Spieth is 31st in points.
Yeah. Yeah, that's within reach. Perfectly reasonable. 30, 20, 31. Perfectly reasonable.
I think we could put Max Homa in the Buddy Ball camp. He's 35th.
Yeah. I mean, in Homa's defense, the last 2 team events, 2 team events, he's been incredible. Like the best player. So like he does have a little bit of that intangible to lean on, I would say.
A couple other that I have to I'm contractually obligated to point out. Cam Young's 34. PJ's Cam Young. Big long shot right now.
We know he can play at Bethpage Black. This is well documented. This is, of course, home game. I still believe we're not out yet. We're not dead yet. The fact that we're even on the list is positive momentum.
He gets resident rates out there. He's able to play. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And then superstar Jake Knapp is 39th.
All right. I mean, that's not, a lot can happen.
Perpetual sponsor exemption, Ricky Fowler's 54. Moved up 5 spots.
Ricky did all right this week. He's getting a lot of starts. He jumped to 90th in the FedEx Cup, I believe. He jumped another 10 spots. Played all right at Colonial.
There are going to be a lot of big names left off this team. Unless they go completely crazy with the spots, which would just be the disruption. They broke up Buddy Ball years ago. It's a fascinating situation because the group that broke down the wall of like the old guard might just revert into the old guard, which is like so much of the history just repeats itself.
It's like, and does Keegan just go from the sort of the exemplar of the outside the Buddy Ball guy? He walks. It's like these lobbyists in DC. You're a regulator, then you retire. You walk across the street and work for the lobby shop. Is he going to be like, well, actually, we need Spieth there. He's going to turn around.
Scotty really wants Sam Burns there.
Ben Griffin? I don't know. Andrew, no, they've had great years, but we wanted experience. We'll see. Could be a fascinating discussion for the rest of the summer. One guy whose spot is not in doubt there is Scotty, just to put a bow on Colonial. Led the field in strokes gained approach. Lost, I think, 8th of a shot, almost a shot on putting. Didn't have his best putting week. Still finished, I think, 4th. So pretty easy cooking for Scotty the week after he wins a major to lead the field in approach and finish T4. Incredible.
You know who I was happy to see rumbling up that leaderboard on Sunday?
Who?
Potgeeter, big boy.
God.
Didn't think that would have been a place for him.
No. No, more for your David Frost types than Pot Geeter. Frosty, I don't think finished well. Frosty, Pavin, and Brown, I think were three of them.
Let's see where they finished.
Bottom four.
Frosty and OB tied. Who did I have? I had Frosty and Pavin. Pavin wins by 2 shots. PJ wins the game within the game.
That's how it's done right there, folks.
I figured that was right up your alley. You got first pick, and these are the players that you follow week in, week out.
Corey Pavin at least exists on the Champs Tour. He's around a little bit. I'm familiar with his work.
Good. Anything else from Colonial we need to clean up? Good. Charles Schwab Challenge. Blocky looked good first round, not good the second round. That's all I got. Fleetwood played decent again, but not well enough to win.
The tour just assassinated him today.
Blocky?
No, Fleetwood on a tweet.
What'd they say?
I just pull it up here. They did like most top 5 finishes since 2017.
Yeah.
Tour members with the most top 5 finishes without a win since 2017. Tommy Fleetwood, 26. Ben On, 14. Alex Noren, 13. Charlie Hoffman, 12.
Fleetwood's one of them.
Almost double bet on.
All right, moving on. The KFT tour, we mentioned Pontus Nyholm wins, Jardy and Baster.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
If Tommy Fleetwood finished like second, basically like his, say like 50% of the time he finished in the top 5, but never won, ever. Is that a Hall of Fame player?
No, it's not.
Do you have to win to be in the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
Like, what if, I mean, he'd be at the top of the world rankings, though.
Yep. An incredible career, incredible achievement, unique in its own way. That's probably worth more than, just being another dime a dozen Hall of Famer. That guy, not suggesting Hall of Fame is dime a dozen players, but if you have this incredible distinction of being top 5 every event and never winning, you stand out more in the history books almost. But it's not Hall of Fame. Incredible consistency, not Hall of Fame.
Also, last Schwab thought
yes,
the defender they gave out this year was pretty sick.
92 defender, looked pretty cool.
Of all the ones that they've given out, I think that's the one that I would want the most, probably.
That's great. That's a good one.
What do you think?
I mean,
would you go Bronco or the Stingray or
the one today, or the one this year? The defender's the best.
Well,
I don't want.
You got to haul a lot of kids.
I know Kokrak's running around Northeast Ohio in his Challenger, just bombing around. I bet. I think he had a Challenger. I can't remember at all. Defender was good. Good Schwab. And that Griffin clip, I'll put it in the year in review now. Awesome about learning how to chip and putt, just becoming better at it. Senior PGA we've covered in depth. Pontus Nyholm's KFT. Christopher Reitan, as I mentioned, set a course record 62 to come from 9 back. Christopher, I believe you would pronounce him. Reitan wins the Sudal Open on the LPGA.
They beat out DVD, the DVD player, the Blu-ray player.
Right.
No, that's Darius Van Driel.
Oh, Darius Van Driel.
DVD player.
DVD. Need more Darius's PGA Tour golf, professional golf. On the LPGA, Chisato Awai, rookie, wins by 6 at the Mayakoba deal. She's her and her twin sister are rookies this year. She's at a 66, cruises down in Mexico. NCAAs. That'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday evening. The individual portion is ongoing as you listen to this. The kid from Ole Miss, Michael Alsazlo, I believe is how it's pronounced, is your leader. Nearly got dinged for slow play, but avoids that, stays in front as they hit the final round. This will be 6 to 10 p.m. on Monday night. But he missed 2 checkpoints. And then they go to a pace of play committee. Like, nah, you're all right. You're okay. So I know there's context. They were, quote, delayed by a circumstance beyond the control of the player or the group. So they have 4 checkpoints, 4, 8, 13, and 17. First missed checkpoint's a warning. Each successive miss makes violators liable for 1 or 2 shot penalties or even DQ should a player miss all 4. But the all caps pace of play committee ruled that 2 missed checkpoints were some I don't know. There was some distinction there that didn't ding him. So he remains in front on the individual Ole Miss individual portion of the competition. On the team side, all the heavy hitters are there. All the top teams are doing well. Auburn's winning. Arizona State, Oklahoma, Florida, Texas, Okie State, FSU. You're gonna have a run.
I have to say,
a lot of volatility. What?
Push back there.
What's that?
The most consistent, probably the best team for the last 15 years is not had a tough last 2 days.
Yeah. They didn't make the cut.
University of Illinois did not make the cut, which was a bummer.
So they have a double cut, top 15. Then for the final rounds, 15-8. Looks like 7 are pretty solid. There's a lot of volatility with a lot of scores out there, but all the top teams are most of them, not all, I should say.
This is event of the week.
Should be a good match play Tuesday, Wednesday night. So
I was going to point out something I noticed. Kind of, I was just looking through like how all the top players were playing. And obviously, I think one of the things with college golf that gets magnified now is the PGA Tour U and who's getting a card. Like Jackson Coyven for Auburn's going to get his card probably this weekend.
If he gets top 10 in individual, he gets the points to jump in. He's going to. Probably.
Auburn's team's like an absolute wagon, by the way, with Valdez and him.
Yeah.
Like probably 2 of the 3 best players in college golf right now, 2 of the best 5 for sure. But anyways, he's going to probably get his card. He said he's not going to turn pro. Likely. He'll be back at Auburn next year. Obviously, well, this is super interesting.
Last year, national title.
Won a title. He's done a lot in the amateur game. He also, I think like one of the things that might be a big like I want to do that is Walker Cup at Cypress, which is understandable.
Sure.
But like I would just point out, especially these kids, like get while the getting's good and get out there while you're playing really well, because like Gordon Sargent's not even on Vandy's starting lineup right now. And that's been kind of like a story all year, an undertone that hasn't been talked out loud. And I understand why. Is like you don't want to like, really talk. But like this guy's got a PGA Tour card, and he's not even on the starting lineup.
It's kind of a wild dynamic.
It feels like there needs to be like some like guardrails on this thing.
On PGA Tour U, qualifications, maintenance.
Well,
how would you?
So he earned it like a year and a half ago, effectively.
Right.
But he hasn't earned any additional points like in the last year and a half. I mean, this would be like it's like the same thing as like a guy earning his card and then playing like crap for a year, and you don't keep your card. I just think it's an interesting topic that nobody's really talking about. I think nobody wants to say anything because it's it's a kid, 22-year-old kid, but like it is fascinating, like where the majority of his points that he's earned happened like 2 years ago. And I think like if I'm, golf is fickle, it's weird. And we always talk about this, who the best player at 19 isn't always who the best player at 24 is.
Sure.
If I'm Jackson Coyven, I get the, maybe you play the Walker Cup, but like I would jump on getting out and playing golf. If I know I'm the best, like I think it's pretty clear he's the best, if not, one of the top 3 players in amateur golf. If I'm there and I'm seeing like, because him and Clanton, I think are probably the 2 best players, right?
David Ford would be thrown in there. He's the number 1 player, and yeah.
And then Valdez is close to him too, right?
Yep.
If I'm in that bucket and I'm seeing what Clanton's doing on the PGA Tour and I'm playing at this high of a level, I'm going, because like you don't know, like elite play in golf is not guaranteed for a long time.
Yeah. Ben Griffin. I mean, there's all these different, maybe it comes and goes. But yeah, he's coming in hot.
Like go while you're playing well. And you have the opportunity. Look at Nick Dunlap. Nick Dunlap's a perfect example. He went he got that exemption. He won again, got enough, he got his exemption, and now he's going through some struggles, but he's got like the security of like, I'm not going anywhere for 2 years.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can work it out. But like, I would just, I don't know. I think it's a topic that needs to be talked about with like it, and isn't being talked about with Sargent. It's not about like, like this is just like part of golf. Golf kicks your ass sometimes. But like, if you're one of these other kids, you want to take that opportunity and really run with it and be successful with it. And you can always, and like, I'm like a big proponent of getting a degree. You can always get a degree on the side.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a good, somebody's telling me a rumor about Cantlay. Like when he was going through all his back troubles, he was like going to go back and just get his degree and be a coach at UCLA. Right now, I mean, you just never know when it could, obviously awesome as an early M and then gone, now back, came back obviously as a top 10 player in the world for several years. So yeah, it's interesting. The Sargent thing though, Clayton's going pro in 2 weeks, right? And he's obviously showing himself more than adequate in a lot of pro starts already. I don't know. The Sargent thing, what you're saying though, he's falling back on that card will be there, right? And so does there need to be a statute of limitations on the work you've done to earn the card? It's take that up. Like, it's interesting. It's an interesting.
He's right now in Data Golf does an amateur ranking. He's 98 in the amateur rankings.
Yeah. It's a tough subject.
Top 5 the top rankings: Luke Clanton 1, Koiven 2, David Ford 3, Ben James 4. Then it's Jackson Van Paris from Vandy and Valdez from Auburn.
Okay. That'll be a good watch.
Other thing, we have the golf version of the Boozer twins of Peja Stojakovic, future Illini, Andrei Stojakovic, like reliving your our generations, their children coming through. Florida probably going to get to the match play with Luke Poulter in the starting lineup. So Ian Poulter's child will be.
He's been awesome too.
Yeah.
He's been a bona fide player. Like Luke Poulter is first. Yeah,
this is
doing well for you.
This is the offspring coming in. Who do you think will be next?
That's a good one. Poulter's still like that's crazy. I don't know who's got kids. The Stojakovic kid. Who was the first one that like drove
big time? Yeah. We haven't even talked about this.
I mean, we were talking about Dylan Block the other day and his ball speed and
Yep.
Could be the next answer.
News we'll rip through really quickly. Rory Skipping Memorial. I think we can talk about more about that on Wednesday when we discuss the field. Will Zalatoris injured, awful. You hate to see it. Just to the point you're just talking about, getting while the getting's good. The 2022 major season, you're like, this is one of the top 5 or 6 American golfers in the world right now, and he was. And obviously had back issues since then, like an injury you don't wish on anyone. And so he had multiple herniated discs again. So he had surgery again, had not been playing well this year. Scheduled to return in the fall, perhaps. So awful. Just based on where we were with him, 2-3 years ago.
Crazy career when you think about all the things. Like he standout junior player, awesome college player. I remember he was in college when I started covering golf, and it was like everybody was like, you got to see this kid hit a golf ball. It's different. Then he turns pro and kind of like gets like the yips, works his way through that, was playing like on like mini tours, right? Mm-hmm. Not like Latin America, gets through that, earns his card, all of a sudden becomes this bona fide, like this guy might be, a superstar, and since has had the back issues. It's sad. Sucks. He's also got like, I think just like a really good personality, good perspective, smart guy. Really sad.
Yep. And then last but not least in news, Lucas Glover had some interesting comments, I believe, on his radio show. Who knew? Lucas Glover, just the never-ending fountain of content here in his, whatever it is, late 40s. Speaking on the radio on driver testing, which has been the hot subject since the PGA and Scotty and Rory's drivers. Here's the quote from Lucas Glover. I've been trying to think all morning and all day how to say this without sounding like it's going to sound, but most guys don't give them the real driver anyway. This was with Taylor Zarzour on Sirius XM. They give them their backup just in case. No, it's true. And the testing is the way it is. Why? And again, I know a lot of guys that keep 2 drivers in their bag just in case. And they go, quote, hey, oh yeah, it's this one. It's this one right here. Yeah, do this. Test this one. So I would say this is like a bombshell, but it is a pretty significant accusation that you're adding an element of intent here to deceive the system, get around the system. Players are cheating the system. Here's my backup driver. You hear rumors about certain, manufacturers maybe having like a hot drawer or a hot section. This is a tour pro who's been there a long time on a subject, saying guys are this is intent, cheating the system. Don't use the one that I think or know is hot. Take this backup one that I know is not. What do you make of these comments, Andy? Pretty significant accusation or subject.
Yeah, I think this is kind of ridiculous in terms of like why there needs to be stricter regulation. This is why I've always said, like, you test it on the first tee.
On the back, yeah, as it's in the back.
It's the only way you get around stuff like this. And it's something we've always talked about on this podcast that I think a lot of people like to say, oh, this is a gentleman's game. Like, when tens of millions of dollars or millions of dollars, now we have tens of millions of dollars, almost every week on the PGA Tour are at play, like, people cheat. This is just the nature of the world. This is like, we see it. Like, imagine what would happen with the stock market without, regulation, without, people making
even
sure that
regulation sometimes.
Even with right, like, people are trying to cheat because why? Millions and billions of dollars are at stake. And this is like, I just like the tour needs some sort of a backbone, because otherwise the players run roughshod over it and you get like these half measures. They're such bullshit. And like, if I'm a player on the PGA Tour that plays by the rules, I am like irate about this, because this is absolutely what is happening. Lucas Glover is saying what
guys
has
are
happened.
Their other driver. Okay.
People have done this. I've heard this also.
Yep.
And like, okay, like, how about we just like put a CT machine on the first tee, because that's the only way that you're going to do it. I think about it as like, what happens with the driver when it gets over? If I said, well, like, I won a tournament with that, I want to keep the driver head. Could I just put the driver head back in play that week, knowing I'm not going to get tested again? Like, it's such bullshit the way they do this testing, when it's so easy, and it takes literally like a CT test takes 20 seconds.
When this first like really became a big thing again in 19, was it 19 Open where Xander got caught, popped, not caught. I don't want to suggest he was doing something wrong necessarily, but what I said was then 19 is like, the smoking gun is the testing, is the lack thereof, the lack of testing. Like, that in and of itself is the smoking gun already. Just the process. I don't think like catching someone red-handed is like a smoking gun, like cheater. Like, the testing, the lack of it, the way it's done, is the smoking gun in and of itself for the PGA Tour. And Glover spoke to that a little bit more. He's like, I felt for Rory. He said drivers are like snowflakes. Like, they could tell you they're the same, they're built the same, but they're never always the same. Where the backups I travel with, I know it's not as good. If it was good or better, I'd be hitting it. And he said that he doesn't hit it far enough to thin out the face anymore. But to your point, or to the point about testing just being so kind of ramshackle and inconsistent, he's like, we're not all playing under the same umbrella at these majors unless we did test everybody. But we got live guys, we got other tour guys, we got tons of different players and tours being represented at the 4 biggest tournaments of the year. Why doesn't everybody get tested at every major? And then why don't we somehow try to make sure it's the driver being used? So yeah, it's like bringing these guys together like a bowl game. One plays in the SEC and one plays in the Big Ten. And while the SEC gets to play with these kinds of, super boosters, or, the Big Ten guys can play with, iron under their shoulder pads, or in their forearms. You have to play the game under the same rules. I don't know. And then he talks about there's so much money. Put it on the equipment companies for the biggest events. Put it on somebody for the testing. So yeah, it was an interesting perspective. And
they're already there. It's not even putting them on somebody. Yeah. It's literally just like putting the thing on the first tee and testing everybody. That's the thing that's mind-boggling to me. Is maybe there's incremental cost in, like, we have to pay somebody a half a day's wage more. That's all the incremental cost is.
Yeah.
Little cleanup.
Okay.
Found another next wave of next generation player
for the senior tour.
Jackson Bird Jr. I think that's Jonathan Bird's kid.
I think you're right. JBJ.
JBJ coming up. He's 118. He's a junior golfer. So he's 118 in the Data Golf amateur rankings. Must be pretty good if he's that high up. As a also interesting Easter egg I found. There appears, I don't know if they're related. They have to be related. There's another pot geeter coming, rumbling up.
Really?
Malin pot geeter, and plays at Louisiana.
Louisiana Lafayette. Is that the Raging Cajuns, maybe?
I think it's Louisiana. Malin pot geeter.
Okay.
Rumbling up the rankings. I don't know. I can't confirm if they're brothers, but they have to be related, right?
God, yeah, got to be related. That's just not.
Does not look like they're siblings, at least.
Okay.
Their body types are very different.
Per the Raging Cajuns website. No, they do not look like they are directly related, at least.
Oh man. Yeah. The speed is coming. The speed boys. Did you read a kid on the Oklahoma team, the freshman Clark Van Galen, just like sits at 200 miles an hour? Just freshman. He's 18. He was hitting it so high and so far. He was like, couldn't control it, but they reined him in, and now he's the super talent. Oklahoma's going to be in the match play portion. So, all right, that does it for this Monday episode. We'll be back. We'll be back Wednesday. Yeah, a lot of Champs Tour talk, college golf. We'll be back Wednesday. Talk to you then.